Incoming transmission.
Welcome back, young recruits, and can you smell this? It smells of burnt hair, it smells of cold sweat with a hint of fear. Yes, it smells of the finals. This is indeed the final round, and that I had to endure in the Global League Series Season 1. And I was up against Klaas. Now, straight up, this was the hardest matchup I've had in the entire season. I did not expect this. Like, I've seen him play a couple times. He's a veteran player, and I was like, yeah, I can probably beat this. Good enough. But hell no. Klaas has put up way more of a fight than I was expecting. He's a really, really good player. Really experienced veteran. And let me tell you the story of my demise in Game 1. Because, oh yeah, for the standings, I was still even with OpenRA at the time being, and I thought I would have to win 2 games in order to actually achieve anything. In order to come first, to have the first spot secured for myself. So what I'm doing here is a cheeky little Grenadier rush, because I've analyzed his replays and I noticed his distinct lack of building a base defense in the early game. So my rifle scout there was just to sniff out the position of his refinery and scout whether or not there was a flamethrower queued up, and there wasn't. So I was like, well, that's a field day for my friends, right? Yeah, well, he had also a couple tricks up his sleeve, and it turned out to be really hard. So one thing I did not expect, usually the classic build order for this map is you deploy a Conyard, you go power plant or refinery, barracks or barracks or refinery into war factory. He did not do this, and that screwed me over with my early Grenadier rush, because if you snipe a refinery, like Grenadiers cannot kill ore trucks, period, but they can kill refineries reliably, right? So if you kill the ore refinery while the opponent has queued up a war factory, that is a huge setback. He has to cancel the war factory, he has to rebuild a refinery, he has to well, stop all vehicle production for a good amount of time. However, he didn't. He went triple refinery. So all that does is give his ore truck time to force his ore truck to go to another ore patch. And I coupled it with an APC because I wanted to bait out any potential flamethrowers, but realized he was going for mass infantry, so I just sent the 3 Grens in, and I had 2 Grens up there. Yeah, he in the meantime had attacked my refinery, but only a couple rifles, so I was not afraid. So he got a bit unlucky there, because he sold the refinery, and he could just as well have gotten a couple riflemen, but he didn't. He got a couple useless civilians with their pea shooters. So, and he also went for Grenadiers, and I tried to crush them and finally got it. Really close to the refinery being dead, but I still held on. And at the same time, like, so much pressure coming in right off the bat with a couple of riflemen. I lose my APC there, really sloppy. Just a couple of riflemen and rocket soldiers on his part, and that was enough to give me a real headache in the early game already. Because I'm not used to playing against such early game aggression. So he still hasn't had any defenses there, so I had retained my Grenadiers. So I killed his last power plant, actually knocking him into low power mode. Yes, he had no power, he was 80 overpower. And the civilians with the pea shooters were trying to engage, but nothing was happening. So he pulls back and tries to kill my Grenadiers, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a good position. I'm not really going to snipe his war factory, but I'm going to put a lot of damage on his war factory. I killed an early refinery. Well, not knowing that he'd gone triple refinery at the start. So both up to 4 harvesters. Yeah, both up to 4 harvesters. And I thought I was way more ahead than I was in reality, because I simply didn't take that into account. I also thought, okay, low power mode is gonna knock him out for at least a minute. Well, it didn't take long for him to recover. So now I'm firing up my harvester production. I'm trying to go for mass eco, out macro him. I was way too light on the infantry there. Just didn't know what to expect at this point. And went for a radar dome. Probably a big mistake already, because well, now I understand how Klaas likes to play, but I fell for the trap this time around. So I'm finding a couple good picks on rocket soldiers and I'm like, hey, nice. At the same time, the blob arrives and I'm already under pressure pulling back my harvesters. This one here goes on a rampage, trying to crush a bit because I need to delay. Unfortunately, this very tile here, this stupid roadblock, prevented me from crushing the rocket soldiers efficiently. Pulling back my harvesters, I have already lost a harvester there. So it is 5 to 7 harvesters. I'm already pretty much down in the eco department. And he's just streaming infantry in. At this point though, I would say we were fairly even. Let's check the assets tab. I was even slightly ahead. In terms of combat, I'd obviously killed way more. So I would have been in a good position had I not thrown it away moments later. So I'm going for a couple APCs just to tank here. Also, I tried for a second grenadier drop, which really did not happen. So I'm finding his unprotected ore refinery and I'm like, this looks juicy. Let's just harass this. But any moment now. Yeah, he pops Tesla coil here and a second Tesla coil there, blowing my armor to bits and immediately forcing me to pull out. What I should have done here is stayed on the eco. Instead I tried getting the Tesla coil down, really big mistake. I could have killed at least 2 ore trucks here. But that just meant that I had no repercussion, like he had no repercussions for going so eco greedy. Because he was up to, yeah, he still had 7 harvesters. And I was down to 5. And now I just started to get consistently outplayed on the left flank, on the right flank, on the left flank, on the right flank. I just didn't have the means of responding anymore. He was just playing ring around the rosy with me here. Getting a good couple crushes in. Unfortunately, the rocket soldiers dodge. So his APCs were left to their own devices, and the APCs, like, he came from all sides. I was expecting him to have his main army up north, but instead he was coming from all sides. So I had the tech transition into heavy tanks. Not the best decision because the APCs function as meat shields way better than tanks do. Tanks are really expensive, tanks just take a long time to build, and they're just not as fast. So I also went for a Yak to scout and I thought, hey, at least I have the tech advantage, right? Line of sight and such. But it never really paid off. He has such huge batches of mixed infantry there. I'm singling out the rocket soldiers, but still I'm just too low on the infantry count. I'm eventually, like, the tank is good for crushing and pushing. You see how it pushes the rifle soldiers around. There is nothing he can do against it. Again, he just sends 2 rocket soldiers to my ore trucks, and that forces me to respond. I'm getting the cleanup here, but I've lost a refinery. Rebuilding it. However, he has already almost got his MCV out. And there is another big push. Fortunately, his micro was just not on par. So he loses much of his expensive infantry, i.e. the flamethrowers and rocket infantry, for little to no gain. If his control were better, he could have done this way more efficiently, could have killed me off in the early game actually. Again, coming from all sides, and the APCs, that was really annoying. They were camping my airfield. So I had no way of getting my Yaks rearmed because they would have been shot to pieces by those puny machine guns of the APCs. Welp. Now he has an expansion out. He went double expansion actually. Really, really greedy, but he saw that he could get away with it because I just didn't have the mass to punish him. So my army is so spread out because I am so fed up with those attacks coming in from left, right, left, right, left. I just want to make sure at this point. I just want to make sure I'm not getting caught off guard. And just in doing so, I'm getting caught off guard. Because he again has a really big infantry push. I'm losing my Yaks to the scout. Really bad unit preservation there. So the second expansion is going in, and I'm taking it under fire immediately. At the same time, left, right, left, right, left. Look at what he's doing here. Really beautiful. At the same time, he's harassing my ore trucks. giving me no chance of ecoing up. And that's what, like, I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ore tracks, despite having built like 10. Okay, I clean up his expansion, but that's one expansion that I clean up, whereas he still has the other one. And he's still camping my ore fields, which was so bad for me. So now here, I should have just deployed there. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I have to make some territorial gains here. And he pops a Tesla coil. And this was one of the... Up until then, I had held on pretty decently. This was one of the major turning points, because I did not have another MCV after this. This was actually my only MCV. So I get the Tesla coil down and lose my Conyard in return. So I'm so down on the production. All I can do at this point is spam infantry and hope for the best. Hope to get an expansion out anytime now. Yeah, he's only got light armor there, so he loses a couple to my heavy tanks. But he pops a Tesla coil, which I immediately refocus. It's just not enough. Getting my tanks out there. I also have a last Yak attack plane that I have preserved. At this point, he doesn't know that this was my original Conyard. He actually must have assumed that this was an expansion, which it wasn't. So I finally have my parabombs ready and I'm opting for the go. But there is way more in the way of army than I had thought initially. I push him back from this expansion. I'm thinking, okay, now we're finally on even footing. But he still, I forgot about this expansion. So he still has the eco advantage. He still has more territory than I have. I finally get some ore trucks down, something I should have done a long time ago. One goes down and the second one comes back after a pass, I believe. So this is my only Conyard I'm deploying here, and I just know I have to get some refineries out. So that's all I'm doing right now, spamming mass refineries. He, on the other hand, is free to just double expand with his double Conyard. I lose my only Yak, that's my eye in the sky, and again, in committing my entire army to the right-hand side, I have completely opened up my left flank. There is nothing here and I'm completely cash starved. I have 0. I am so broke at this point. So in terms of combat, we're completely even, but in terms of eco, look at the assets, 40k to 26k. So I'm preparing a nice counterattack here, finally getting some of his eco down. He sells out immediately. That was actually fairly good because he lost his war factory. At the same time, he's raiding my eco time and again. I just should have protected my flanks better. That's something I completely failed to do in this game. Get a couple of ore trucks down. Eco raid successful. The Yaks didn't really pay off. I mean, they sniped a couple vehicles here and there, but nothing that would actually have kept me in the game. So my little task force there, the Delta task force operators there, are still in the mix. Still getting a couple of ore trucks down. Let us do the big eco count. He's down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mining, and I'm down to 6 mining as well. But look at the distribution here. My ore trucks have to go I have to go really out of their way to get the ore. I should have transferred over there. Whereas he just, yeah, well, he has this juicy ore field for himself, which really would have been a better call. And again, I've committed my army to the left side. What does he do? He goes to the right side. All I have here are a couple civilians. No, that's class as civilians, never mind. Even the civilians uprising against me. So I lose both my refineries. I get a nice crash off here. But I lose both my refineries, I lose 2 ore trucks. And again, this is completely turned into a no-go area for me. I lose 3 ore trucks even. Yeah. So if we want to take a lesson from this, if your opponent is committing into an attack on an open map, just go the other way. If you know your opponent's army is completely out of position, do what Class did here. Again, I'm committing all my army to the right side into clearing, and in doing so I've completely opened my left flank. So if we are to learn anything from this, it would be flanking is important. Get on the dank flanks, kids. I'm engaging here, something I shouldn't have done. My entire army gets wasted within a matter of mere seconds. I know I have to pull back. There are like too many rocket soldiers. And I would have placed a Tesla coil there. Problem was I was so cash starved. I didn't have the cash for that anymore. Really nice by Klaas, he's walling off his Tesla coils. That is such an efficient way of improving their survivability. Because a wall costs you what, like 100 I believe, 150 maybe. He pops another Tesla. He's got mass rifles again. The flame tower is cutting me off here. This is such a bad engagement for me. And there are 5 rocket soldiers on my tank sticks. So this is just not looking good for me anymore. I mean, it hasn't been looking good for me for a while, but... yeah, I still managed to push you back one more time. But after that, it's lights out. And he's just taking territory. Look, I'm committed to the right side. I am busy microing here. I just don't have the cash to bring up an army on the left side. So he's free to double expand to the left side and completely out-rotate me. So if we were... if you guys play League of Legends, it's like the sick rotations. Yeah, I got out-rotated there. My only Conyard under fire again. And again, I have to pull my entire army to deal with this blob. What does he do? He doesn't care. He doesn't care if this attack force dies. He just moves his Conyard up and camps my ore fields. Really, really smart call by him. Really smart play. Ooh, that was... my MCV was almost in Tesla coil range there. And as soon as I start engaging here, he just has too many defenses queued up. I'm trying for a kind of desperation move. Trying to go for the main base, trying to snipe the tech. What does he do? He just queues 5 rocket soldiers to the left side. He doesn't even have to defend from this. He doesn't need to. Instead, he just goes for a base raid. Much more efficient. Really smart play by Klaas. And I am getting like pincered between 2 Tesla coils, flame towers. It's just all over. And there is the V2 plus Yak combo. Boom! Killing my entire blob in a matter of seconds. Here he has 5 rocket soldiers just decimating all my armor. My Badger drop, I just set it to do the maximum amount of damage to the base defenses. I just wanted to snipe some base defenses, and look at this. Down to 3 ore tracks, 2 of them being critically wounded. Yeah. It's the way it goes. I have to call in a defensive paradrop. You never want to do that. My heavy tank is a bit lost there. I don't know what he was looking for. And at this point I have already realized it's completely over, but I haven't scouted the second Tesla coil, so I run into the second Tesla, trying to get the first one with my infantry. And here he's got V2s queued up, really smart choice, because he has seen my service depot. He knows I have no more Conyard. Like, this is the last Conyard of mine going down. Unfortunately, I was too late on the trigger finger. And now all he has to do is snipe my service depot and make it completely impossible for me to come back ever. Civilian uprising. That's an angry mob if I've ever seen one. AK-47s for everyone! Yeah, I didn't purchase the AK-47 upgrade for my civilians, unfortunately. He snipes my my service depot, and I can't rebuild an MCV anymore. So, that's it for me. There are no crates in Red Alert Global League. It is completely over at that point. He's double base pushing me here with double Conyards. He has queued up the V2s, and I don't have an answer to the V2s anymore. So, yeah. That pretty much concludes game 1. Shit, GG. My response there. Yeah. That was a fantastic game by Klaas, completely out-rotating me and taking advantage of the fact that I was too low on the infantry count, so I always had to move my entire army top side to defend, then bottom side to defend, left, right, and he just took advantages wherever I was not. So really good rotations from him, sick MLG rotations there. Yep, more rotations than a merry-go-round on acid. Alright. So that's my first, the first game, and I still had, unbeknownst to me, well, we're gonna talk about this later. So I thought I was out of the game because I had lost this. I thought I was out of chances for getting the first place. And with that, we're going to jump to round 2 versus class. Transition now. And we're back with round 2 on Sidestep, featuring one of the most impressive comebacks I've had in the league, I believe. So this time around, both spawning as Soviets. Keep in mind I am going... Oh, again, both spawning as Soviets. Keep in mind we're both random, I believe. I think class didn't pick faction either. So it could have gone either way. We could have like had allies mirror matchups or whatever. But didn't happen. Standard opener. And class this time around didn't fuck around with double refinery or anything. It just doesn't work on this map because you have this one big chunk of ore and the other ore patch is really far away. So it's better, it's actually really way better and more economically efficient to rush out the war factory than base crawl your way down there. And this map I picked specifically, it was my home match. I picked it specifically because I knew round number 2 would decide the league, the outcome of the league, and I didn't want a map as open as Overlord anymore. The specific thing about Overlord being that the ore tiles are so easily harassable. You just send a couple rocket soldiers down there and that's it. Here you have a way more defensible location because the ore patches are really compact and all you need to do is like harvest this a little bit here and maybe place a Tesla coil there or something. And your entire ore patch is covered. So of course going for the oil derrick. I always like sending two guard riflemen there to make sure that my engineer is getting there safely. Yeah. Also, the first match was kind of a bad idea because I was having a bad day already with my bike being stolen, and that was the first game of the day. I didn't have a warm-up. It was a pretty non-smart idea. So I was slightly salty, but don't pay attention to the chat. I still have to command class for his absolutely stellar play in round 1. Rushing out the flak truck just to see if I can spot any soft targets, because yeah, with a flak truck you're opting for map control and I don't like the APC. It has a really bad line of sight and it also just costs a lot. It's 850 in the early game. That's a really massive swing. So I scout the flame tower here and I'm like, strange. And here out comes the first flamethrower. I should have microed this better. I should have killed him without dying. I should have just kept moving there. But didn't expect the second flamer burst. So I've already scouted this flamer rush. Because no one in the Masters League is actually going to just place a flame tower randomly. There is always going to be a flamer rush behind this. So flamer rush spotted. Fair enough. And both on 3 harvesters, nothing too special. So this engineer, I sent him like to just hide in the village there, and this engineer would play a pivotal role in the mid game. You will see. Both have captured our oil derricks without major incidents. He's going for mass eco, I'm going for mass eco. So he also has a different distribution of the ore trucks. That's something that doesn't get talked about too much, but this ore patch is so huge, you actually might want to harvest it out with 3 or even 4 ore trucks. This patch, on the other hand, is like easily harvestable with just 1 ore truck, so I don't like his ore truck placement there a lot. And also he went for a transfer at least. So it's like, if you're familiar with StarCraft, it's the eco slide. Classic eco slide there. And I have rushed out an airfield without any units on the field. Like, I've fallen prey to this mistake in the first game. I did it again in the second game. Just because okay, so I thought I was out of the league, right? So I thought, well, time to have some fun. Basically. Time to just go for a goofy build. Time to just go airfield rush into nothing much to back it up. He again goes for his early blob, but keep in mind it's just way harder to pull off than on Overlord, because on Overlord, like, what is the travel distance of your rocket soldiers? It's like maybe 25 or 30 seconds. Here, on the other hand, you are walking for an entire minute. So it already delays any rushes, any kind of infantry rushes. He's going for a scout APC. And I went V2s as well. I really like V2s. They are so versatile in what they can target. If you have good micro, they just blow up anything, even tanks. And yeah, that's the Tesla coil I was talking about. This just about protects your entire overfield. So you're completely safe there unless the enemy's got overwhelming forces. And here I spot his first infantry blob. So this time my yaks have paid off. And airplay is gonna be a big factor in this game. Behind this, he also went for radar tech, interestingly enough. So my V2 blanket fire immediately decimates the blob here, and this is such a difference to last game. Like, you remember last game I lost pretty much half my eco to the early push. This time, nothing at all. He swoops in with a yak to clean up my V2 rocket, and I barely have any rocket soldiers. They're all like here, hiding down there. So I'm trying to pull them back. Doesn't work. Fortunately, not enough ammo for the second. So I get to repair the second V2 rocket. And okay, in the mid game, this is gonna be crazy hectic. It's gonna be really difficult to cast because both were active on like 3 fronts at a time. It was a quite stressful game, I have to say. Behind this, I think I was rushing a tech center. So these Autrax I should have already pulled down there or up there for long distance mining. Doesn't matter, either would have been fine. So that's an interesting move by him here. He spots my airfield and he knows I'm Ukraine. So my airfield is really worth a lot because it also gives you parabombs. It gives you... He loses a yak there. It gives you parabombs and the paradrop and the spy plane. So he shoots, but I start repairing just before the third V2 hits. And this sliver of health is just from the 1 second that I started repairing. So this was such a clutch play. I lose a yak there, unfortunate. Second yak still on. And that was a questionable move. I went for double MCVs there. Fortunately I sniped 2 of his yaks. Went for double MCV and tried to cut him off from his own eco expansion. Deploying it here, but not having the cash for any base defenses whatsoever. So a really bad move on my part again. I'm deploying a refinery, but the refinery is very short-lived. And the second MC was supposed to go here. And I'm trying to lock down the middle, but I did not scout this infantry blob. So here he is with his original expansion. And all my stuff is in the middle. So yeah, bad times for my MCV there. Thinking about a crush there, but I just don't have a base defense queued up. And now I'm A-moving my entire infantry blob. That's a lot of infantry. I went mass infantry, but he has flak trucks, he's got infantry, and he's got a yak. So down goes my first Conyard, and the second Conyard. It's very ill-fated here. I'm trying to get out alive. I've deployed the fuck you refinery, and here my entire army is getting pincered. I had more infantry than him actually, but I just got pincered, so I lose a lot of my stuff there. He has also gone for Tesla Tech, and now I'm doing the same. I'm doing some eco raids on his base. That kind of paid off. I got 2 of his Autrax down. Those were rally pointed from the left top side. So he is very soon going to transition into shock troopers. I was not ready for this. So I'm trying to sneak my MCV out here. This was so unfortunate. They were chasing my Autrax down and my V2. His entire army is on the chase, but they spot a juicier target. There is my second MCV. Should have deployed. Didn't happen. So my MCV, like, as long as it's undeployed, it's a very soft target and it goes down to flak tracks incredibly easily. So I'm down 2 Conyards, I am down a couple yaks, I'm down an entire infantry army. I am toast. And here, what happens here, this was also a bug. I was attack moving, definitely attack moving. My attack move did not come through. Instead, they were just idling above the flak truck. 3 airplanes down. So at this point, I think I just have the feeling that I'm out of the game completely. He has gotten an Iron Curtain up. which I just scout with my spy plane. Fortunately, I have crippled his eco a bit. Yeah, he's got shock troopers, he's got mass flak trucks, and scouting for expansions. Now here, I spot his Iron Curtain. That was kind of a big deal. And what do I have here? Like, basically 4 harvesters that are yielding me anything. And I have 1 base versus 2 bases. There is also a shock trooper blob, and I hear the dreaded Iron Curtain sound. So I'm like, this is not gonna work, I'm toast. But I'm attacking the Iron Curtain. Meanwhile, my V2s are getting cleaned up. I have to hide them somewhere safe. Yeah, unfortunately for me, he did not have much other than the flak trucks. He responds with a counter paradrop, and fortunately it has paid off that I've preserved the airfield, because I am going for parabombs right on his Iron Curtain. They didn't have a good angle, so he scouts them, obviously, so it just sells out. But still, I have denied his Iron Curtain. Really big deal, gives me some room to breathe. Now I have expanded to the top right side, and I know I can't just deploy here because I don't have my base defense ready. V2s are coming in hot to just decimate the blob, but look at this, look at his army. He's got flak tracks and shock troopers. That is almost a classic, like from the version a year ago, this would have been the classic death ball, because a year ago, shock troopers had insane health. They had 100 health points, which was way too much. And flak trucks plus shock troopers was an unstoppable combination. But fortunately it has gotten toned down a bit. Here, my heavy tank pays off because it just pushes away all the rifle soldiers. So I get to pick off this entire group. On the flip side, he's gotten so many flak trucks. 6 flak trucks and a couple shock troopers. Enough to punch through. I think he's just waiting on the curtain. He has redeployed the curtain. But I still have an engineer hiding somewhere in the village, pretending to be a priest. Also getting some nice picks now. What class really lacked was static anti-air. Because here I got to pick 5 shock troopers for free. That's a pretty big investment. That's 1600, no, that's 2000, I apologize, 2000 actually. No, wait, no, 2000. That's right, 2000. And the tech center, up until this point, hasn't been used for anything. I was contemplating a demo truck, but realized that using a demo truck here would just be suicide. Fortunately here, just sniping out all the Tesla troopers before the Iron Curtain is up. And I've got myself back up to a sizable force and some eco topside. I've also gotten an Iron Curtain now. He's repairing, good move. And that was kind of a weird choice here. I think he was just hard set on killing my base defenses with his V2. So they all get intercepted. That was pretty bad micro by him. That was 4 V2s lost for absolutely no gain. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, even missing in the process. Yeah, 3 at least, but that's a big swing. Also, he just tends to leave blobs of shock troopers like completely unprotected here. And as soon as I scout this with my last yak, I believe. Yeah, there's my last yak. I went through the middle, I saw this, and I was like, hey, that's a free 1600 for the pickings. Thank you very much, sir. Boop. Now I'm deploying here. He's got the Iron Curtain up though. So this is getting a bit dicey. Fortunately, he loses quite a bit of his stuff before the Iron Curtain pops, otherwise I would have been forced to redeploy immediately. So I'm rallying all my stuff down bottom side because I don't want to lose it. And he's chasing in with the Iron Curtain, but overstaying a bit. I pop a Tesla coil, and I also got my army still up. So he loses pretty much everything there. And on the flip side, I have shift microed my V2s to kill the V2s, to kill the Tesla coils, to kill the ore refinery. So yeah, that was a pretty good big swing for me. Here I know I have critical mass to punch it. To punch his ticket there. And he is attack moving everything. I'm trying to snipe down the V2s, snipe down the Tesla tanks, snipe anything that's mobile or defensive. That's either mobile or base defense. Now here I see the mass shock troopers coming in, and I immediately have to pull back. I know that this is not going to work. But that's a big deal here. I have retained the Tesla coil and an ore refinery topside. So in terms of eco, we're still even. And that's my first MiG almost immediately getting shot out of the skies. He's got a fairly dangerous army there. Like, he had V2s, flags, and a lot of shock troopers. So I was just blindly firing with my V2s, trying to find him. Finding the flank, really good hits by him. There we go. Finally getting the cleanup. And those MiGs, I had not expected them to pay off that much, but the reason I was rushing for them was because I knew he didn't have any mobile anti-air, or static anti-air, I guess. Again, he was just rally pointing his V2s in. Really, really strange decision. That was a waste. Another 3 V2s. Some friendly fire on my flak truck. And yeah. Redeploying topside. And I think at this point, somewhere down the line, I realized, hey, he's got an unprotected iron curtain that is not within flamethrower range. So again, I'm just camping here. Obviously the shock troopers are making life difficult for me, but hey, that's life. Shock troopers are still very strong despite having fallen out of the meta a bit. Interestingly enough, I was going for a paradrop here, but he didn't have any eco there. So he pops the iron curtain, and I'm forced to move back, or stay on the conyard. Either is fine. So now I'm moving up with my engineer and trying to grab the unprotected iron curtain. Very juicy target. So my MiGs here, they are so good at sniping either ore trucks or Tesla coils. They are very good versus any high armor targets. 2 salvos from a MiG just bring down any base defense, and that is such a valuable feature. So here I've grabbed the iron curtain for myself. I've got a double iron curtain now. Still have a harvester jam there. Happened to me quite a lot. And yeah, the MiGs are starting to pick off stuff. Tesla coil after Tesla coil, so I'm going for mass MiGs at this point, because I'm like, he really seems to be vulnerable. He didn't have much anti-air at all. I'm losing my harvester to a paradrop, but that's fine. I still have like 1, 2, 6 mining. So I'm a bit behind in the eco, but at the same time, he attacks my tech center, and tech centers go down incredibly fast. Shock troopers just do so much damage, but that's what they're designed for. Here I'm singling out the flak truck first so that my V2s can swoop in, or that my MiGs can swoop in, sorry. And in order to not lose my radar dome, even wasting precious MiG rockets on a single shock trooper. And I make it a point to always build as many airfields as I have MiGs, so that I don't get a jam while reloading. Topside, I'm establishing myself again. I don't have much of a mobile army, but neither does he. We have pretty much de-blobbed each other. And he realizes the iron curtain is there, so he just sends everything at it. And that gives me the freedom to just deploy stuff on the top side. I'm eventually gonna sell it. The MiGs again going on Tesla coil hunt, singling out all the base defenses, and they just one-shot base defenses at this point. I love MiGs. I mean, they're highly underused because they're really hard to use in a competitive environment. If your enemy just builds a couple SAM sites, stuff like that, and protects his ore trucks and his base defenses, then there is nothing they can do. And here I almost lose them, but yeah. All the MiGs are being retained. He has squeezed out another conyard and is trying to base push me here. But I've established myself firmly on the top side now. So this is basically the comeback that I had been hoping for. Comeback of dreams, of legends. Having a small V2 blob army up. So V2s are... I love V2s. Just such high damage, pinpoint accuracy units, but they require a lot of attention. You can't just attack move them because, yeah, if you attack move them, then what happens is that they just waste their rockets on like a single moving rifle soldier. I'm getting parabombed. I'm getting my parabombs to hit his barracks because I'm expecting an entire blob there, which is the case, but it's only rifle infantry, so I'm getting a good chunk of those down. At the same time, though, he has snuck a pile of shock troopers, like a murder of shock troopers down topside. And again, my EQ is in peril. It's blow for blow, though. Yep. Just like the Colombian cartel, blow for blow. And here, luckily, I've still got my V2s there, ready for cleanup duty. Such nice V2 hits. And those are all shock troopers, so they are really expensive. That's 400 or 500 apiece, I can't remember. Getting a lot of the Autrax down. And Class just doesn't look too good anymore. He has rebuilt the Iron Curtain that I've sold down there. But he's lost what? Like, he's down what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mining harvesters maybe. And I have enough eco to fire up my MiG production. I still got my expansion there. Obviously lost the Conyard because I tried to move it up to the top left. But he's losing a couple flak tracks to inattentiveness. And at this point I see that he just has committed everything to the top side and he doesn't have an army right now. So our cash is starting to dwindle. Really nice crashes there. And that's the annoying part about flak trucks. It's so easy for flak trucks to flank V2s or any artillery for that matter. Look at this. The only thing that stops him is the Tesla coil. He has built a nuke, well, not so much rushed, he has just built a nuke straight up. That's a decision that I don't really agree with at this point, because he was kind of on the back foot, he didn't have an army. And I started to gain some momentum there. Here is my MCV just trying to cut him off. And also trying to snipe the main eco lines. Again, a single flak truck just zoning away my entire V2s and MiGs. Really annoying. Yeah, supplementing the forces with a paradrop. And these are only riflemen. Riflemen and V2s, so I have to rely on the MiGs to clean up any armor. Which I'm doing now. That was some fire splitting that you see. You might have seen this in games like Command & Conquer Generals, where you can actually split the fire of your Raptors or whatnot. You can also do this in OpenRA. It just requires a very quick trigger finger after the first rocket is released. If you hear the sound of the bombs being released from the MiG, you immediately click to another target. Works pretty well, works like a charm, and conserves a lot of ammo. Really important. So the 5 MiGs are going up again, and so far I haven't lost a single one. Those MiGs have been really, really deadly. Finally getting his main eco line. And now that he's busy doing stuff topside, I just go to the bottom side and snipe his ore trucks. Now this is the first time I've lost a MiG. RIP. First and last time in the game, I believe. Sniping the base defenses, sniping ore trucks. The MiGs have just proved so valuable. Despite... yeah, at first I was like, okay, let's have some fun. Let's make this a troll build. Because I know I've lost the league. Stuff like that. That was really nice. I've already taken the shot on the Tesla coil, but he Iron Curtained his Tesla coil. So all that's left to do for my MiGs is just snipe the armor. Snipe the ore trucks. Here I've got mass riflemen, V2 rockets and even a heavy tank cleaning up his expansions there. And yeah, that was a smart move by him. He sent 5 rocket soldiers trying to find my MiGs on the airfields. That would have been such a crushing blow. But it didn't happen. The Iron Curtain being attacked by a paradrop, but fortunately I've got my V2 there. And those 4 MiGs have been oh, nice hit there. Those 4 MiGs have been what kept me in the game. Initially 2 of them, and they just sniped Tesla coils left, right and center. So I've still got a sizable army here. And that's the cue for me to attack. And by the way, I did almost not put any rocket soldiers into this group, and that has a specific reason. I wanted to avoid Yak crashes. If you don't have any rocket soldiers, there is no way for the Yak to crash into your blob, right? So here, just focusing on the Tesla troopers because they one-shot infantry, they're really deadly. And that's pretty much it for him. I've also gotten a nuke out just in time to not come into play anymore. But I didn't know how much longer the game would go for. So again, he has no anti-air here whatsoever. So my MiGs are free to just snipe whatever's left. 1 O-truck down. Turning around, Tesla coil down. Turning around, flame tower down. Turning around, second Tesla coil down. That is such an economically crushing blow there. And rearming and not having lost anything. That's exactly how you want to play this, how you want to play with MiGs. Really cautiously and snipe whatever you can. And never run into AA fire, never run into any sort of anti-air whatsoever. Because they are so fragile. Here, a paradrop just, honestly it was, I think, just on the last base defense. I wanted to just make use of the paradrop. It was not something I had specifically plans for. Again, getting all his harvesters down. He was down to like 1 single last harvester, and he calls GG. That was it. That was it from Class. A really hard fought game, a really good comeback. That was, okay, the games versus Class were the hardest in the league, period. Like, this guy has given me a run for my money. So we split points 1-1, and at this point I had thought that Murto the Ray had won the league because he had won last matchup versus Gatekeeper, and he usually in the practice matches he had always won versus Gatekeeper. So I was like, yeah, not gonna happen. However, something I had not realized was that Murto the Ray had lost 1 game to Gatekeeper, which was the only other game he had lost in the entire season other than the 2 versus me. So yes, with that in mind, with this very win, I have promoted myself into the title of Master, Red Alert Global League Master Series winner for this season. And yeah, so kids, that's the story how I won the league. And we're off for Season 2 now. What is happening with Season 2? It is already started now as of September. There is going to be a weekly match again, so for you there is basically not going to be any interruption. I'm just going to fire up Season 2. There are going to be a couple visual changes though to the format I'm doing. First off, I'm trying to re-implement the production tab, which currently hasn't worked out too well because of technical issues, but I think I found a workaround. Secondly, I am trying to keep something in mind that Carrillo told me. He told me, wouldn't it be interesting if you only showed your point of view to let us know which decision you're making and why? I'm actually considering this and giving it a fair amount of thought. I'm liking it. So I may be doing it that way, that I mostly just show my point of view. So it looks like, yeah, it looks, oops. So it looks like this only. And we can't see what my opponent is doing, and only in critical moments I would switch back to the view of my opponent. Let me know what you think of that, but I think it's a good idea. It adds to the tension of the games. Yeah, about this game, fantastic games by Class. Really, really well played. I've played him a couple times since, and he's a fierce player, forced to be reckoned with. And the only thing that has kept me in the game here were those 4 big bad boys. The 5th one being lost for Mother Russia, but hey, that's how it is. So yeah, thanks for watching. This concludes Season 1. We're going to be back after a 1-week break of Red Alert Global League with Season 2. Thank you, Commanders. See you. 5 Aces out. Dismissed.
Battle control terminated.